Hello, everyone. It's Dylan from YuGiOh Everything, and welcome back to another episode of the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Show for the first time from the farms of Delaware. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I am very, very excited to get to this show with you guys. We are joined by Nick Squared, Nick T, and Calabro are returning. They will be on a little later on, and we've got plenty still to come. Obviously, we've got the Pulse of the Community. I think this is the one of the most favorite segments that we do here, where we read mean to colorful comments, usually about me, sometimes just about the Yu-Gi-Oh anime in general, and we are going to be doing that, of course, later on. And another thing that we are going to be doing for our top 5 list is Nick T and Calibro's top 5 biggest Go Rush disappointments. You're going to hear from the Maestro, you're going to hear from the Financial Guru. Obviously, I did this video a couple of weeks ago, and they are going to give their top 5 biggest Go Rush disappointments. So I'm very interested to hear what they are gonna say with that, because obviously we all enjoyed Go Rush, but like with every show, not just Yu-Gi-Oh, with every show or movie, you're always left feeling, in most cases, a little disappointed, kind of wishing that maybe they went down some different routes. And of course, we are going to talk about that. But before we get to that, you guys know I always love to kind of do an opening topic here. And the opening topic that I want to go over with you guys, it's a video that I've wanted to make for a very long time. And it's about a Yu-Gi-Oh series that was so unbelievably cursed. I really don't know how they managed to put together a semblance of a decent anime. And of course, that's subjective. I mean, some people think it wasn't good. Some people love it. But like this show, I don't think any other Yu-Gi-Oh series touches this show when it comes to the production issues that it had. And we're going to kind of go from the start and just go over all of the things that absolutely plagued this anime. And I am talking, of course, about Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. And given everything that happened surrounding Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains should have been a really, really bad show. Now, I know there's people watching right now that probably feel it was a really, really bad show. I think if you polled the conglomerate of people that have seen every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, I think Vrains would be considered slightly favorable. Like, I think if you took, and I'm someone who's read thousands of comments, positive and negative, on all of the shows. I've been doing weekly videos. I don't think anybody has read more comments than me, unless maybe you peruse the comment sections of my videos, then maybe you have. But back when Vrains was airing, I, of course, was reading a lot more comments before I started streaming. I think if you polled 1,000 Yu-Gi-Oh fans that have watched Vrains, it would fall somewhere on like a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 if you averaged out all of the rankings. There's a lot of people that do not like Vrains, that think Vrains is the worst Yu-Gi-Oh anime. I could name a bunch off the top of my head. On the flip side, there's a people who loved Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains and think Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. Even looking in our Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Group, I liked Vrains. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Calibro liked it. Pete and Dredger loved it. Nick T didn't like it. I think it's actually Nick T's least favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Of the shows he's seen. So even within like our friend group, it's very polarizing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. But this isn't about whether Vrains is good, bad, okay, decent, mid, horrible, excellent. That's not what this opening segment's about. This opening segment is about how Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains should have been an absolute unwatchable nightmare. It should have been. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, we have to go back to the beginning with Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and that's when it first gets announced in December of 2016. It gets announced at Jump Festa. We're all excited. Yusaku Fujiki, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. And then the first kind of mini red flag got waved. And the first mini red flag was the opening description that we got when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I'm going to read this for you. And I want you guys at home watching to remember, like, what Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains was, and tell me if you think this was accurate. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains theme, remember, this is from December when it was first announced, is take a step forward and try. on the premise kids should try out things instead of giving up at the first try due to being overwhelmed by information. Yusaku is a boy who doesn't like standing out and particularly doesn't stand out at school. However, he gets drawn into encounters with people as he tries out dueling for once. The main theme of the 6th show is take a step forward and try. The main character, Yusaku, is a young man who extremely dislikes standing out, blah, blah, blah. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains was nothing like this. In fact, this is an excerpt from one of my videos back in March before Vrains started, when I realized that, hey, we're kind of getting like totally different descriptions when it comes to Yusaku's character. Here it is.
Seems very cool. There is some contradicting arguments here, though, because Yusaku clearly is already a dueling expert if he's crushed this group single-handedly. But there's other articles that say he's never dueled before. So there's something going on here. Maybe they changed his backstory a little bit.
Yeah, they changed his backstory a little bit. Even back then in March of 2017, before Vrains aired, when I'm making videos, I'm like, hey, something's not right here. We're getting descriptions that he's never dueled before, and we're also getting descriptions in the very next V-Jump article of he's a dueling expert who's taken down the Knights of Hanoi before. So something was off there. And then we get like the first pretty big announcement when it comes to Vrains. And another red flag. Hey, Vrains is going to air in May of 2017, not April, which was a little weird. Instead, we're going to get this YuGiOh Labo. For those of you that are old enough, you remember YuGiOh Labo. It aired in the place of Vrains. It was really just like a placeholder, and it was them like explaining what the word Vrains meant. It was showing like concept art of Yusaku and Aoi and Go, and it was cool, but it was a 5-week delay. And to this day, it is the only Yu-Gi-Oh series that had any sort of delay at its start. So kind of weird there, right? You're giving a 5-week delay. They don't really explain why, but there's already concerns, right? Your story has changed at the beginning. There's a 5-week delay. There's clearly last-minute things that are juggling right now that all indicate some major changes on the forefront. But whatever, let's start the show. So the show starts, and not even 4 months in, we have our first massive news. A lot of people forget this. 14 episodes in, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains director is out. 14 episodes in. And they bring on a guy who has never directed before. Okay, that's a little weird. I mean, you don't love seeing that. That's not necessarily a great sign. By the way, I went back and watched one of those old Link summoning sequences. Remember early on, the Link summonings were unbearable. Guess how long it takes Go to summon Goki the Great Ogre, a Link 3 monster? From start to finish, 51 seconds. Almost a minute for one Link summon. And you would get those like 5 times in an episode. 51 seconds it took Go to summon Goki the Great Ogre. So maybe that's why the director change happened. We don't know if this was a firing. We don't know if Masahiro stepped down. Apparently he stepped down. So, we'll just take that at its word. But either way, not a great sign that the director up and leaves after 14 episodes. And we had a recap in episode 13. Then we had another recap in episode 21. Then we had another recap in episode 29. Then we had another recap in episode 38. So in a 25 episode period, 4 recaps. Now you're starting to worry. And I'm making videos. You can see my thumbnails back in the day. I'm worried at this point. I think everybody is. I think everybody is really, really worried. You have the director change 14 episodes in, which is unprecedented. Never before in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime has the director changed that quickly. We've seen a director or a main writer change before in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. That's not unheard of. But 14 episodes in, that is unprecedented. That is unprecedented. And so imagine being this new director who's never been a main director of a show before. Recap in episode 21, recap in episode 29, recap in episode 38. And what this young director, I believe he was in like his late 20s, early 30s. So he was like my age. I'm just imagining taking over the director spot for Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns in the studios in that much of turmoil. So this young director decides, all right, listen, I've got to apologize. And he apologizes all 3 times after these recaps. But the most interesting apology was the 3rd one. This was after episode 38. This is the director of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns. To all the fans who look forward to seeing Reigns every week, I'm very sorry that you had to see a recap again. It must have been very frustrating for some of you. I don't enjoy seeing recaps in a show that I look forward to every week either. Once again, I'm very sorry about this. Some people will probably think that all my apologies won't improve Reigns' production. That said, I think the state of the show's production will probably improve thanks to these recaps we put out, as I'll probably be reprimanded if I disclose too many details about the show's production. Let's just say that we're making progress little by little. I mean, even, just to make a statement like this, I remember I praised it. I was like, man, that's bold. That's really bold. Because you can get in a lot of trouble for doing something like this. You can get in a lot of trouble. And he even says that. He's like, if I go any further, I'm going to get reprimanded. But it did improve. I mean, I think there were only 2 more recaps in the final 80 episodes. So it did improve. But then, of course, you get to the very end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, and the whole show gets cut short by 6 months. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns from the very, very beginning was doomed to be this complete mess of a show. And the fact that I think a majority of people, if you polled again, a large majority of Yu-Gi-Oh! Watchers, I think the average rating would be like a 6. I think everybody working on the show would take that, given what they went through. This is all the stuff that we, the public, know about. We can look back on the beginning, how it was changed, the 5-week delay not helping production issues at all the recaps. The show was in a complete turmoil state. And the fact that they still managed to put together a watchable show really is unbelievable to me. Now, some people will say, I mean, it wasn't watchable. Some people really don't like it. And, my response to that is, yeah, I mean, that's valid. I mean, the show should have been terrible. I mean, the more you look into it, the show really should have been terrible. And I would have loved to see the original concept, and I would have loved to see what the studio and the team could have done if they were not in such a terrible, terrible situation. All in all, I think knowing what we know and knowing that there were probably so many things behind the scenes that we sadly will never know about. I'm sure behind the scenes stuff, it was much worse than what the public knows. I really do commend them for still being able to put out a watchable show that many people enjoyed. It really is unbelievable given how bad things were at Studio Gallop at the time. And as we know, it was the final Yu-Gi-Oh! That Studio Gallop would ever touch. So I just think it's unbelievable when you really take a deep look into it. I want to bring on 2 wonderful people, 2 wonderful friends of mine, Calabro and Nick T. First of all, Calabro, how are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Nick T, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing excellent, brother.
Good. I'm happy to hear it. Cal, I want to start with you. You obviously watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns. Reigns was really your first complete Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, you only can compare it to Sevens and Go Rush, but I feel like the amount of drama that we know of as the audience that happened regarding this show, I think it's unbelievable that they were still able to put together a watchable product.
Yeah. No, I agree. And yeah, Reigns was what got me back in. I think the overall concept, right, of the show for me, just like the virtual reality aspect, was something that was interesting. And then obviously the Yu-Gi-Oh! Allure of itself being like, wow, this is something that I used to be interested in back in the day. I'd love to get back into it. And like you said, there were so many things that I didn't even know were necessarily like not normal in the beginning, like with the recap episodes happening, like one after the other like that. I was like, okay, is this another? And like you kind of explained it to me, and I was like, oh, so this isn't. You're like, no, this doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah,
like,
bad sign.
I was like, because I thought it was weird. I was like, I thought this is weird, but I don't know. Maybe that happens, and so that like that was one thing. Like just getting used to honestly watching anime in that at that time as well. But I still thought it was a good show. Like I really, it could have been so bad. Like it could have, it could have just stopped. Like it could have not gone even as far as it did.
It could have been canceled. Like what we know, it was so bad. Like I really do feel like there was a chance it could have been canceled. Like that's how bad production was. It seemed.
And it like like you said, the director leaves after 14 episodes. They bring in some guy who's never directed before. Never directed, and in a short period of time there's 3 or 4 recap episodes. You're like, oh my god, like this is falling apart right before our eyes. But the story somehow kept it all together. And I know we all like wish that last season was a little bit longer, there were more episodes, because it felt a tiny bit rushed. But for what they were going through, like you said, 6 out of 10 any day of the week.
I think everybody who worked on that show, if they got the consensus rating of a 6 out of 10 for what they had to deal with and stuff that we, the public, will never know what they had to deal with, I think every single person that worked on that show would be happy. And I really do believe, it's not just good radio I'm trying to do here. I really do mean what I say when I said I've read thousands of comments, thousands of takes on Vrains, people hating it, giving it a 1 out of 10, people loving it, giving it a 10 out of 10. I really think the average rating would fall in that like 6 out of 10 rating, slightly favorable, if you just took all of the ratings and averaged them out. Nick T, you are someone who wasn't the biggest fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I would love to know kind of your thoughts on the monologue here.
Well, so I actually want to go on record and say, even though I do like enjoy sort of ragging on it a bit and have expressed some, not disdain, but criticism of it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I disliked it.
Oh, okay.
I just want to go and say that like I did not dislike the show. I actually think a 6 or so is a fair rating based on what we got in the end. Are there elements that I don't like in general? Yes, absolutely. I mean, I could list them, but that's not the conversation here. With that being said, I think most of the things that I didn't like about the show, I think, were related to those the issues that we saw unfold in front of us. The recaps, the cutting of pretty not dire, but like important plot points, or plot points that were made to be more important than they ended up being. A Hanoi spy, you name it. I feel like, what was it? Speed duels was when they were on the board.
Yeah.
We kind of fell to the background. We didn't really do it that much.
Well, and Nick T, I'm sorry to interrupt your thoughts. Something I also didn't mention much, because it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, there were 26 episodes. The show just ended in September. It didn't go a full 3 years. No Yu-Gi-Oh show has just like ended abruptly with like no follow-up to it. So clearly, like, those last 6 months, it feels like we're also like kind of annexed out of the series. And that could have certainly helped answer a lot of those unanswered questions that we didn't get. But we have to judge the show based on what it was, of course.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yes, 100% we do have to judge it based on what we got. But I think we can at least explain what we didn't get by those with those issues. Like, not even just plot points. I mean, literal production issues in that last 10% of the show, having what's his name die off screen. No,
Spectre. Yeah, that was another thing. And then Spectre's voice actor came out on Twitter and is like, "Yeah, I love the character. I don't know why they didn't use me." So exactly. What are we doing? I mean, it's just crazy.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I get the sense that that those it's not just a bad writing decision, right? Like that that doesn't just happen. That's where they're like, we're just not going to use him. We're not going to give him anything. He's just going to fall into space, and that's it. I really do think a lot of the problems I had with the show are related to that. Not all of them, of course, but I think with what they had, the tools of what they had, and in spite of the issues, we got a pretty cohesive story with some pretty likable, colorful characters. maybe aside from Yusaku. But we got a good cast of characters, some really interesting duels, despite the issues that this show has been plagued with.
Well, that's what it was. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of that opening scene. It's like, to me, it was just such a miracle almost that like the show was not like unwatchable. Now, for some people, I'm sure they would argue that it was unwatchable, but for a majority of people, it was like a cohesive like story. You know, but yeah, I just think that the production was just at that point, the studio was just in really, really dire straits. And yeah, I think it can explain, as you said, a lot of the issues that people have with the show. But the show is what it is at the end of the day. You have to judge it based on what it is. You know, you can't make excuses for it. But
well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but again, at the end of the day, I think we got a pretty decent show. Even if you even factored out those problems, like let's say we can't take those into consideration because, you know, this show ended up being what it was, I would still say I enjoyed watching that show. Yeah. You know, and I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm in agreement with that. Cal, do you have anything that you want to add?
I mean, no, but I guess like one piece just to agree with Nick T there is like, if we didn't enjoy watching it, like we may not even be doing this. Like me, Nick T, and
that's
Keith,
true.
like,
that was your intro
of us
show.
Joined in on that first show.
That's true. That's true. If you guys hated that show so much, who knows? I mean, maybe I'm not even doing this with you guys.
Would have been like, it's just not worth the watch. I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I appreciate you inviting us on, but I think that might be it. Cool experiment though.
It's like, yeah, dude, this show is like unwatchable. Yeah. No, it's yeah, to me it's just amazing given everything that we know, and you know there's so much that we don't know that yeah, it still was a cohesive show. I remember when I was in New York City at the Yu-Gi-Oh movie Dark Side of Dimensions rewatch that they did in October. I went with Dredger. I remember somebody came up to me and I was talking to them and they were like, you know, I really, really didn't like Vrains. And I remember my response was like, I mean, you shouldn't have. And they looked at me like, what? What are you talking about? And I said, well, I mean, you shouldn't have. The show was in such terrible production straits that, like, given what we know about the production, if you didn't watch the show, nobody should have enjoyed the show. Like, that's how bad we're talking when it comes to level of production turmoil behind the scenes that we know of. You know, with the 5-week delay, the director changing, the recap hell, but somehow, like, it was a cohesive show. And listen, with that guy, I was like, no, I mean, I'm just kind of joking around, but I mean, the show was in production. He's like, no, I know. But yeah, like, it's just, yeah, it's crazy. And like, you know, it goes without saying as well, like, this was the final Studio Gallup show. I mean, if you need like one last, like the cake was baked perfectly. Let's say you kind of agree with the points I've made. The cake's baked perfectly. It smells great. You know, your grandma's put some nice whipped cream on it. The last thing, that big, beautiful cherry that you drop right on the dollop of whipped cream, that cherry is, hey, this was the final Yu-Gi-Oh that Studio Gallup did. If you needed one last piece of the pie, that the studio was in a lot of trouble.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. That was a very weird analogy because you the analogy makes it seem like that the cake is a good thing.
Yeah, the cake's not good. Saying, it's not good.
No, it's a bit the cake. This delicious cake that your grandma's baking you is actually a recipe of disaster.
Right, that's what I meant.
Pointing to the end of Gallup's tenure with Yu-Gi-Oh. I see.
That's what I meant.
That took me.
I may have screwed up some of the pieces of that analogy.
Yeah, you made it sound like the cherry was ruining something great. That's what it sounded
like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay.
No, the whole thing, even this delicious cake is Gallup ending their tenure.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I may have screwed that one up.
You were happy they ended their tenure?
I'm not happy they ended their tenure. I would have loved to see them continue, but...
Right. I see your point, though. There was a lot of signs... Not many, but like there were signs.
Oh, there were enough. Yeah, there were enough that like it was coming to an end. I just, you know,
like that cake was being baked.
Yeah, and then, the cake was being baked. Yeah. You know, if there's anything to like, you know, I might be incorrectly blaming But in my mind, I've always kind of low-key blamed Konami a little bit. I get that everything is a business, but like they have a crazy amount of money. You couldn't like maybe invest a little bit of money into that studio that you've worked closely with since Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters to maybe help them out, unless the situation was that bad. But like even $1 million, what is that to Konami? That's nothing. I'm not saying it's like a charitable thing, but like, you know, I always felt like they could have helped that studio out if they wanted to. But I get, on the other hand, that a business is a business. I get that.
Just as a counterpoint, well, not necessarily it's agreeing, but it's an opposite perspective that I get the sense, and I have no actual backing for this, that Konami over involvement maybe could have led to the issues that we saw with them maybe trying to change things, kind of take pieces out, you know, and again, I'm not basing it off anything, but you do see this kind of thing happen with, like, say, movies where a studio gets too involved and directors back out, writers back out, it's plagued with issues, it falls into production hell. So I don't think it's necessarily an issue of, oh, Konami's like, this is your mess, like, you deal with it. I maybe get the sense that they were putting their fingers in the pie when it shouldn't have been.
You know, it's so funny, Nick T, because both of those are like very opposite. It's great. We've got Nick T and Blurry Cal on the
it won't refocus.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, there you go. You just got it. Got it. Both of those are like very possible and maybe even probable, but only one of them is true because they're so polar opposites of each other, and we'll never know which one is true. But yeah, you know, I wish we had a little bit more of understanding of the situation that happened. But again, business is done very more discreetly in that country than it is done here in like America per se. That's why, again, the director apologizing 3 different times on Twitter was so crazy. But like, that's how bad it was that he felt that he owed the Yu-Gi-Oh fans that, despite potentially was going to be reprimanded. Now, I don't believe he was, but like, that's why when I made those videos back in 2017, I still feel the same way. Like, I really commended him. A young, new director finally gets this chance, and he's making these, like, apologies when it's not a very common thing to do over there in Japan to speak about production problems. I thought that was really, really brave of him, and I commended him for that back then. I still commend him for that today, for sure.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. Boys, do we have any, still to come? Obviously, we got Pulse of the Community. We've got both of your top 5 biggest Go Rush disappointments, which I'm very excited to get into that. Do we want to get into any donations, super chats, any of those? If we have any.
I have one on my end, and I think there's 1 or 2 on your end. So you want me to go first?
Yeah, let's go.
Light Dragon has become a member at Obelisk Blue.
He's an Oklahomian. He's got to be loving the fact that OKC might be winning tomorrow. So that's awesome. Light Dragon, thank you so much. Obelisk Blue, also the highest channel member level that you can be. So I see you there, Light Dragon. Thank you so much for being a member. Greatly, greatly appreciate you. And then we have, I'll read 2 donations here. And then we're going to move on to the top 5 Go Rush disappointments. Dark Emperor J, thank you for the $2 donation. Random question. What was the weirdest dream you had? Sleeping dream, I mean. Yeah, I've had a lot of these weird dreams. I'll actually stick with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains one. I had a dream the night before Vrains opening 3, what would end up being the final opening calling, was going to drop. And I had a dream where me and my friends, the 2 people you're seeing to my left and right, reacted. I believe Pete was there as well. Not Dredger yet, because I didn't kind of reconvene with Dredger until the Sevens era. But I believe it was the 4 of us, and we were reacting to Vrains opening 3, and Donkey Kong was in it, King K. Rool was in it, and like, we were like, oh my god, they collabed with Nintendo. This is crazy. Like, Donkey Kong's going to be dueling. And it was, there were other weird elements of it as well that I don't fully remember, but that was a weird one that pertains to Yu-Gi-Oh!
That is
bizarre.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Nick T, what about you?
Is it Yu-Gi-Oh related? I'm sorry, I missed
No,
the question,
it can be anything. The weirdest dream you had.
Oh man. It's weird. None are coming to mind, but I mean, I have stress dreams about work all the time. Many of them like teetering into the bizarre, like people that do, like you guys that do not work for my company being there and just watching me, everything just completely collapse, like the wheels falling off this entire company. So that's, but as far I'm like completely blanking out on all my weird dreams right now.
That's fine. Calibro, what about you?
Every once in a while, I don't dream a lot, but I feel like every once in a while I'll have these dreams where like I start out in like a normal place, like we're driving in a car, say it's the three of us as an example, and then we'll like show up to a house that we're familiar with, open the door, and then when we walk into the next room, it's like a completely different scene, scenario, place. Like we'd open the front door to a house and then all of a sudden we'd be at like a resort in the Caribbean, and it would be me and different friends and some people I don't know, and just random stuff happening, but with like familiar faces. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I got you, man. Yeah, dreams are fascinating, but nothing much weirder than Donkey Kong and Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, which actually low key would have been really hype.
That would have been.
It would have been. It would have
virtual
been
reality.
So
Anything's
dope.
possible.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see DK with the dual disc. Jarek Brewell, thank you for the $2 donation. Hey, Dylan, hope the move went well. It did, Jarek. Thank you so much. Quick question about future podcast guests or streams in general. How accessible is your new place by public transit? I don't drive, so I'm a bit concerned it might be hard to get there. Yeah, I'm chuckling because I had talked to Calibro about this briefly, and I kind of realized that like I am not close to any sort of public transit. Delaware has like one train, and it goes through the very tip top of the state. And we're probably about like 40 minutes south of that train stop. So that may very well be an issue. And also, of course, we still have shared walls. So, a big issue with the place that we were in, Cal, is we had kind of, neighbors that were not the kindest to noise. And, I've got to kind of test the waters here a little bit. We got to throw a rager and see if we get any complaints. So that could be, of course, another, especially because in this place, we do not have a basement. So that's the other big issue. And that could be a problem. Now, luckily, if it is some sort of problem, we're only here 1 year, but we're going to have to, see. So definitely some issues there with people and Jump Festa for sure. But, we'll figure it out when it gets closer. Absolutely. Yeah. But great question. Jarek, thank you so much for the donation. Boys, are you ready for top 5 Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush disappointments?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is the financial guru. It is the Maestro. Top 5 Go Rush disappointments coming in. He is the Maestro. Hey, Maestro.
Let's hear it for the Maestro.
Encore, Maestro! Encore!
Maestro.
Hey, Maestro. He is the Maestro. All right, just to recap, as the Maestro is about to give us his top 5, my top 5 biggest disappointments in Go Rush. Number 5, lack of cryptids. Number 4, Goha Yuna's character conclusion. Number 3, the Valgyrian War, not getting any explanation on it. Number 2, never getting Udius versus Yuga. And number 1, Otis, the king of disappointments. Maestro, we're starting with you. Kick us off hot. Conduct a symphony of disappointments. Number 5. What are we doing?
Number 5. Okay. So when I submitted this, number 5, I just as a little clickbait title, I said the goofy Faser dragon in the arc finale duel. Now, obviously, my issue with that goes deeper than just how goofy he looked. Like the motive was a little bit hazy and unclear, and why they were there in the first place is a little unclear for someone who was being hyped to be pretty badass. Liked the duel, pretty goofy look. I mean, I remember Pete and Cal and I were like clicking through stills of this form of him, and we were just cracking up.
Yeah, yeah, very fair. Number 4, Maestro.
Yeah. Number 4, pacing issues during crunch time. Now, this is not a specific disappointment, right? It's not like a specific plot point or anything, but it is a disappointment of the show throughout the show. And it seemed like anytime we were in a hurry to wrap a certain plot point out, they were just taking their sweet time, especially in the end. We were like, we have 20 some odd episodes, and here we are. Like, I mean, what was it in the last 10 episodes? We're time traveling. And that was worrisome.
And we had a recap with 3 episodes left. Don't forget that.
That too. So, that was an issue, a little bit of a disappointment, I guess, to me, was that they just decided the decisions were made. I'll say that.
Fair. Maestro, Symphony number 3.
Symphony number 3. This one is contentious because some people think that it wasn't needed or was implied, but not seeing a Yuga reunion scene, I think, harmed his whole arc, his whole purpose of being in Go Rush, and him being a plot point. He deserved a reunion scene with his friends.
Now, Nick T, some people would argue and say that reunion scene was not for us.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it was always for him, but I think we deserved it as the audience, especially seeing how Sevens ended and completely losing him as we send him back. And then we just suddenly see him with his friends again. I think we deserved a bit more as the audience.
I agree with that. I would have very much liked to see that scene for sure. Symphony number 2, your second biggest disappointment in Go Rush.
This one is also contentious. Because we've discussed this one at length, but no true Otis identity reveal, which
I agree.
It's funny that this was number 2 for me, because I kind of argued as devil's advocate on this one, saying, well, he's everyone. He's not one singular person, and that even if that feels like a cop out, but it is a disappointment considering, how much time we've spent with him. I think we deserved one.
Yeah, I'm in full disagreement. I mean, you can see my biggest disappointment was Otis. Not necessarily like the fact that we didn't get like who he was. That was one element of it. I just didn't like the whole execute. I mean, I guess not getting who he was probably the biggest element of it. So yeah, I mean, dude, I'm right there with you, man. Right there with you. Now, what is your biggest disappointment of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush?
I think this one, oddly enough, even though it's number 1, is less contentious than the other 2. But considering he is by far the coolest character of the show, completely wasted in season 3. Zujo in season 3 is my number 1 disappointment.
Wow.
I mean, the coolest character in most of my favorite scenes of the rest of the show. And in season 3 is a lackey to a group that is falling apart, no longer the villains. It's just, what a waste.
Yeah, he was brutal. I mean, I really, really did not like his season 3. I thought it maybe got a little better for him towards the end, but it almost felt like they chose to revive him ultimately because of who he was in those first 2 seasons, being such an amazing character. And like they almost kind of preemptively revived him. It felt like they revived him without giving him like a legitimate purpose. And then they said, yeah, why did we, it almost feels like the writers got in a room and said, why did we revive Zujo? And it's like, yeah, I don't really know. You know what? Let's make that his character, that he's trying to find like his purpose, kind of how we're trying to figure out why we revived him in the first place. Like it became a gag. And yeah,
became a gag.
Zujo's final season was in my top 10 as well, Nick T. Not my top 5, but it was in my top 10. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, I think what really added insult to injury, a character so known for great, like, one-liners, kept referring back to this something. Oh my God, it was infuriating.
Yeah, what was that
His
about?
dialogue went from, he literally lost brain cells. And it really got under my skin.
Well, you know what? Cal, the financial guru, Nick T, great list. Thank you so much for sharing. I don't really have many, I like to try to pick apart these lists as you guys do with mine. And, but I really don't have too many, things to say there, but there's a lot of good variety between yours and mine, which I appreciate. Actually, everything except Otis is different between our top 5s, which I love. Calibro the financial guru here, he might have something to add on regarding Zujo in season 3. Cal, what's your number 5?
So yeah, good segue there, Dill. My number 5 is Zujo in season 3. And honestly, as disappointing as he was, right, or as that season for him was, it's hard to feel that disappointed about him because of how good he was prior. So it's like you really only have two schools of thought with it. Either you're like, wow, he was so good, and then they fumbled the bag so badly that he's like number 1, like you said, Nick T. And then for me, it's like, even with that bad season, I would still hold him in such high regard that he's not a big disappointment for me. That's what I would say, I think, for Zujo. And I mean, for all the points that you said too, right? Like, he kind of fell by the wayside. He was kind of a lackey for a while, looking for his something. Like, it did feel almost gimmicky, like, with his character after he got revived back in.
Yeah, he for me, and the reason, he was, I think, I don't remember where he was, 7th or 8th, somewhere on there for me, his season 3. I liked it a little bit more towards the end, and that kind of like lowered the blow a little bit. But I mean, through 2 seasons, he was, I thought, the best character in the show. He's now 3rd for me. I have him behind Udius and Quaiduel. So it's not like that final season like killed his character so significantly. Yeah. I'll tell you, for me, my number 4 on this list, YuGiOh, she had much more of a severe drop than Zujo did personally. But it wasn't a great final season for him. Calabro, number 4, your 4th biggest disappointment.
Number 4 is somebody who's on both of your lists, and that would be Otis.
Only number 4?
Only number 4. And right. I say that because with low expectations comes a lower level of disappointment. And after the disappointment he was in Sevens, I had zero expectation of him even maybe being in the show. I was like, whatever. I think once they started dropping hints about him and Yuga and stuff, we knew he was going to be back eventually. But I mean, I honestly didn't expect this like perfect introduction to who Otis really is and all this other stuff. I wanted it so desperately.
I thought they were going to do it.
I'm sure if you look back, I was sitting there like, oh no, they're going to tell us. Like, they have to tell us. Like, why would bring him back and then not mention it? But for me, like, it just, my expectations were so low for his character in the show that I was still disappointed, obviously to a pretty decent extent, but it just not high enough to be like number 1.
No, it's fair. I thought my whole thought process with Otis was, hey, the same team that's writing Go Rush basically worked on Sevens. They purposely withheld his identity from us in Sevens. They're gonna drop a bomb here in Go Rush. That was my thought process. That's what I thought was gonna. I really believed it. You can go back and watch. I always had a lot of stock that Otis was gonna get nailed really, really well. And I think that's why for me he's got to be number 1 for me. But it all expectations important, right, when it comes to disappointment. Yeah. So you're not wrong there. Cal, what is your number 3?
So number 3, a little bit different than what you guys have, is Yumu's season 2.
Wow. Okay. Oh, Yumu's season 2. Okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason it's Yumu in season 2 is because she became like a side character for almost an entire season, it felt like. Mm-hmm. She was just like everything we praised her for in season 1, being smart, being way ahead of the game. She's 2 steps ahead of Yugi and Udius every step of the way. She knows what people are thinking, all this kind of stuff. And season 2, it's like Yugi has this great awakening of being like, of growing up and like figuring out who he is and this purpose, and they just kind of made Yumu seem like she had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think a little bit of how, like, Zujo was a good character and then had a disappointing season 3, Yumu's hit so hard because it was right after I thought she had a pretty good season and was like kind of leaning more towards being the main character of the 2 twins. And then she just, to me, it was just like a pathetic like season for her. Like she didn't do enough. I was making jokes that I thought had literal credibility about Ron being better than Yumu.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
So you know it had to be bad if I was making those and thinking to myself, I mean, guys, at this point, who's more important?
I mean, they were good jokes, but they didn't have any, substance and actual in
I don't
reality.
know when they got carded.
I don't know about no substance.
When they got carded and Ron saved the day. I mean, I don't know.
Come on.
Saved Yugi.
She had a good single moment, yes, in a vacuum. She did.
It was one more than Yumu had in that season, and that's why she's number 3 on my
Yumu,
list.
I liked what Yumu did against Faser. I'm not going to defend her season. I don't disagree with you. Now, to have it number 3 is very high up, I think, but I'm not going to disagree with her having a bad season. But what she did against Faser, I thought was very brave.
She ended the season strong as well, but for the majority of it, she was nothing.
Yeah, it was a tough season. But I would argue Yuna and Zujo had rougher seasons than she did. But that's fair.
I mean, Yumu also, she knew she was getting taken away by the Darkmen too, right, Dill?
No.
Well, again, we're bringing up things that happened a very long time ago.
I know. I'm playing.
I mean, it was a long time ago, but you did try to break out math and graph.
Well, the maths backed me up. That's the thing. That's the thing that's crazy. I get persecuted for this every time it gets brought up, but the math, which you can't argue with math, the math and the facts say, wow, he was right. He was right. But I get persecuted for it like I'm some crazy man like yelling on a street corner, even though she absolutely had enough time to react to it. But that's for another time.
That is for another time. And my number 2 will... and I think my number 2 will probably surprise a lot of people as well. And this is more of a personal disappointment for me, I think, was Damu and the entire idea of the Earth Damar.
Another one that was in my top 10. It was they were in my top 10. Yeah, they were in my top 10. 2 is high, though, Cal. I'm excited.
Yeah. I think everybody that watched us along the way through the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh, everything for Crazy 8s, I was so convinced that Damamu was going to be so important, even maybe become a villain, because they showed the one time when she grew really big and she was stomping through the city and destroying stuff and laughing about it, and we were like, it's a little dark and twisted for this Earth Damar that came out of Yugi, and then the whole idea of even using the Earth Damar when Zujo joins in with his monster and does physical damage, these things that the power that Earth Damar and Damamu had was crazy. And then I feel like those powers were only used in plot device moments where she could catch them in a bubble and fly with them and little things like that. And or when I don't remember the exact thing that was happening, but when Damamu, something bad happened and Damamu was evil laughing.
Everybody, and I showed that in my video, Cal, everybody got carded by Energy Copyco.
Yes,
Energy Copyco I almost had on my top 10 too. What a joke that was, right? She dueled.
That was the Ron moment.
Yeah,
right?
She dueled and she carded
crew.
everyone. She carded 5 people, and then we never learned anything more about her, which to me is crazy. But anyway, that was very weird. That was a weird moment.
Yeah, he's laughing. The cards are falling. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think Damamu obviously has this plot device role, right, where she can fly them around. She has these powers. Then she becomes the way that the Valkyrians get revived. But it's it's all unexplained stuff that kind of they just figure out along the way. And I feel like Damamu has no control over what's happening either. So it just, to me, it felt like they could have even become a villain. They Damamu felt almost like a creator type of potential where you're duplicating yourself. You have all these different powers. You can just grow and become big. And there's so many things that they're basically she's a limitless character, right? That's kind of how they portray her. And then just kind of nothing comes from it.
Even being in Udius's mind world when he went to Duel Quai Duel, they were just running around in there. Yeah, I mean they were I think 7th or 8th on my list. So yeah, I mean I'm in agreement, and you did bring them up a lot throughout the podcast.
I really did think that Damamu was gonna have some sort of villainous role or big impact, and it just kind of felt like it was they were just kind of just used as the stepping stone to the next plot point rather than handling the plot point itself.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. All right, Cal, I am interested to hear your number 1 disappointment in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush.
So my number one disappointment is something that obviously I haven't seen, right? And that would be two protagonists from two different shows battling it out in a duel, Yuga versus Udius. And I know this is on yours.
Very high up.
It's just, to me, in a concept of any sort of show that works in the way Yu-Gi-Oh does, where, there's these different shows all based in potentially the same timeline, potentially not. It just made so much sense to have, and it could have happened at any point. It could have happened when he first got there, and you could be like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You duel, you learn a little bit about it. Cool. But it just never came to be where they would be going at it. And there were a lot of points where you thought maybe like this duel needs to happen. Where like Yuga, he's kind of doing things and then disappearing, and then he's here and then he's there. Like, you never really knew what Yuga was doing. Then when he says like the helmet, I'm going to call it Otis, and it's like, okay, maybe he's going to become Otis, and obviously he's going to have to duel Udius. And it's just like none of these things that I guess like would have been hype in my mind ended up happening. And the duel itself, I think, regardless of the situation, would have just been a really cool duel to watch.
I remember I had somebody say to me, well, why would they fight? Well, first of all, you can make up any reason to fight, but why would they fight? Dude, at the end of, and people forget this, at the end of season 2, Yuga and Udius are on totally opposite sides of the coin, and Yuga and Udius are about to commence a duel, and then Yugi steps in and says, nah, Udius, you relax, I'm going to duel for Yuga. And then Yuga duels Yugi instead of Udius, then they both get exhausted, and then they take over the duel for, their tired brethren. So Yumu takes over for Yuga, Udius takes over for Yugi. So they had a reason to duel in the show, and like the fact that like they shied away from it even in that moment, and then never gave it to us, man, it would have taken something really, really heartbreakingly disappointing for that not to be number one for me. Of course, Otis then happened, but yeah, I mean, not getting Udius Yuga to me is baffling. It's a baffling decision.
Yeah, and I just think even if you couldn't think of a reason. Right. The simple reason to me is why not?
Oh yeah, of course. You really don't need. Yugi and Jaden didn't have a reason, like in terms of like life or death or anything. Yeah, so like, you could have made it work.
And it's as simple as I'm from the future. Yeah, right. You are. He's an alien. This guy's from the future. What's going on? You duel. You find out information.
That's a fair point too.
Of course.
Even in like a ceremonial sense, like these are two characters who have such, regardless of any other plot point, have such a love for dueling. Like that is like a motivator for them at certain points throughout the show for both their characters and their respective shows. You don't even need an excuse. The two just love dueling. Let them duel.
And here's the other thing. It's like, power scaling between the two of them is tough. If you don't want to give them a conclusion, that is fine, because guess what? I've never heard anyone say, man, I wish Yugi and Jaden didn't happen because it didn't have a definitive ending. I've never heard anybody say that. I'm sure there's people that feel that way, but a majority of people, it's like, all right, who cares? We got to see these two duel, and then in your mind, you make up who won at the end, whatever. So there's also ways that the prior writing teams have set up continuity-wise where you don't have to box yourselves into a corner if you don't want to give a definitive result because it's protag versus protag. So, I don't even want to hear the whole, it's tough. You don't want to power scale your two strongest characters. I don't even want to hear that. I just, by the way, these characters both lost a lot. It's not like, Yuga losing again. Yuga losing again really changes my opinion. Oh, well, I thought Yuga was a good duelist until he lost to Udius there. The other 15 times he lost, I thought he was really good. I mean, come on, give me a break. So, it's not like old Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, these protagonists lose quite a bit, and that's fine. So, that whole argument, I just don't, it doesn't hold any weight for me.
I knew this was going to result in some Yuga shade. I did know. What
Yuga shade? I didn't throw any Yuga shade. I think statistically,
doing a theory about Yuga.
What?
It's called the Pac-Man theory.
I mean, Pac-Man theory does hold water. I will say, out of all of them,
one of my best theories.
Pac-Man, yeah.
I said this bald guy is cooking. That's what someone wrote when I gave that theory.
Oh, dude, come on.
That's good.
Oh man. Yeah,
geez.
listen, I agree with you. Nick T, do you have any comments about Cal's list, or vice versa? Do you have any comments about Nick T's list?
Honestly, I think Cal's list is excellent, and seeing the Damamu thing on it does make me reconsider. Actually, his Damamu and both your Udius Yuga do make me reconsider the Faser thing a little bit, but still, I think I stand on it. Those would probably be like just out, or an interchangeable, 5, 6, 7. But I mean, those are all excellent points.
Yeah, I think the Faser thing, as goofy as it is, seeing the design, it really took me out on the character. I was pumped for Faser. I felt like they were setting him up to be so cool and just this cool villain. Even if he wasn't going to be the big villain, he had this cool vibe about him. And then you see that drawing, it's
yeah,
this guy can't be a big deal now. At least not as big as maybe you thought he was going to be. I don't know.
I mean, there were a couple.
That's how it hit me as well.
There were a couple of people who thought they were surprised I didn't put Faser in my top 10 characters. He really wasn't that close to making it for me. He didn't even really make my short list. I don't know. I
would say they kind of fumbled him, to be honest.
Yeah, I just wasn't the biggest fan of him, and I don't know. I just wasn't the biggest fan of him. He's one of those characters that I feel like didn't do too much after his arc. My top 10 disappointments to round it off. Number 10 for me was the final arc. Kind of speaks to your fourth, Nick T, a little bit, with just pacing concerns. Number 9 was Earth to Mar. Number 8 was the 13 episode arcs, the repetitive nature of those. Kind of speaks to your number 4 as well, Nick T.
It does. Yeah.
Number 7 was Zujo's final season. Then my number 6, and this is one that nobody mentioned, Yuhi's alien detector. Remember very early on how in every single episode, and I'm not even kidding, I'm watching through the Go Rush dub right now on Twitch. Every single episode, Yuhi's hair would spike, and it's oh, what?
And they point to it.
Yeah, and Yumu knew about it. It's wow, what does that mean? Is he part alien? How does he have that power? And then it just never was touched on ever, and it was never explained. So that was a pretty big, it was an unanswered question. It was a pretty big disappointment for me as well.
Completely agree. And actually, there are, and in this conversation, and especially including that, there are a couple plot points that, just like Reigns and just like Sevens, I think, maybe to a slightly lesser extent, that were just dropped.
They don't
really tie it off with a bow. They just all right, we're not going to mention that again.
No, 100%. It's very well said. That's one of them. Yeah. That's definitely one of them.
That's a good one. I actually totally forgot about that.
Such an early plot point, I can't even blame you for forgetting. All right, we have a few more donations. We have a donation, and by the way, that was the Maestro and the Financial Guru's top 5 Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush disappointments. Great list, boys. Great list. Pulse of the community
also,
still
Dill,
to come. Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment about how you said Faser wasn't in your top 10 characters list.
Yeah.
I just looked at the one that I had written because I had written one down a while ago. This is actually from May, so a month and a half ago. And he's not on mine either.
Okay.
So, just to point that out there, he's not on mine either.
Yeah. Yeah, he maybe top 20, expanded to 20, but
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even on my short list. I always do I usually do 12 or 13 and then the 3 honorable mentions. I usually don't mention them, but yeah. Dark Emperor J, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Just a bit of Lies of P lore from the base game. Apparently in Chapter 9, Vanini tells us Arlecchino murdered his parents when he was young. Maybe we'll come back in the DLC. Yeah, I mean, I think Arlecchino will certainly be a big role in the DLC, it being a prequel and all. Also, Nick T, are you down to make the Puppet Mommy video, a.k.a. Marconia LOL? Have you seen Marconia?
No, but wait, is that the one that has the faceless puppet?
Yes.
I've seen both of them, and yeah.
All right. Well, if I make any more Lies of P videos, I'll let you know.
Please, yeah. I mean, listen, if you need a top 10 puppet mommies video, I'm in.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. No, it means a lot to me, Nick T. So thank you. Thank you.
You got it.
Electric Kevin. Calibro, you want to read the super?
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Electric Kevin, thank you for the $2 Australian. Tomorrow Horizons reaches its 100th episode hype.
Yeah, good for Horizons.
Oh,
I mean,
sick.
A 100 episode mark is always a really, really good milestone. 7 of the 8 Yu-Gi-Oh shows have hit that, which is cool. But yeah, always a good milestone to hit 100, and I've heard a lot of good things. So I mean, it's awesome that people keep watching and keep enjoying that show. That's awesome.
Certainly.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Tyler DeBoer has been a member at YuGiOh for 21 months.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you, my man.
Tyler said, top disappointment. Dylan, before I read this, can you guess who's involved?
Top disappointment. It's gotta be regarding Mitsuko in some degree.
Correct.
Bingo.
The final season's handling of Mitsuko could have told the story how even if you love someone with all your heart, it won't always work out.
Sure. You could have done something like, hey, Spring Heel Jack could have been a character, and Mitsuko could have ended up falling head over heels for Spring Heel Jack. No pun intended.
I see you did there. Pun definitely intended.
And maybe Zujo could even have a moment where he's like, hey, it is, or you know what? I don't even think that wouldn't even be his character. You know what? I think he wouldn't even be happy for her. He'd actually be totally indifferent. But I think it would be a story for Mitsuko. Hey, you love someone, it didn't work out, guy's not interested in you, it's time to move on, and hey, you know what, you never know when Spring Heel Jack is waiting around the corner ready to strike. And
I think that would have been an excellent
into your
lesson.
life,
yeah, I think that would be a beautiful thing. So that's the negatives though, right? You choose, and obviously somebody chose not to have Spring Heel Jack in the story, and I think it hurt Mitsuko's involvement.
Well,
okay, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it would make a ton of sense because she's so tall.
Of course,
right?
In order to give her a kiss on the cheek, you'd spring heel, jump up, kiss on the cheek, right back down.
It's kind of romantic.
Beautiful.
If you think about it.
I think so too.
Yeah, and it's actually funny because one of Tyler DeBoer's earlier comments while we were going through our disappointments list was that he jokingly said no Spring Heel Jack disappointment, and I
didn't even
no
see
lie
that.
considered putting that in my top 5.
I mean, I'm happy you did it
as a meme,
yeah,
but I didn't.
That would have really hurt the integrity. We have a lot of integrity here on the channel. That would have really hurt the integrity of the top 5 list.
I agree.
Just a little bit.
Tyler, thank you so much. We have Philip Rosewood. Great to see him again. Great to see him again.
Are you reading it or am I? Because you just jumped.
I thought you were gonna read it.
I was. As you scream his name, yeah. Philip Rosewood, thank you for being a member for 47 months.
Thank you so
Slifer
much,
Red.
man. It's awesome.
And Philip said, "Hey guys, been a while. Hope all is good."
We hope you're good, Philip. We are still rocking and
hope you're
rolling.
doing
Obviously, we're doing the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh show every other week. We're doing, the Chronicles podcast will be next week, the After Dark. So we're rocking and rolling. We're trying to fill the void. That's what it all, we keep going and going. That's what it's all about. Filling the void with hopefully what's been enjoyable content. But yeah, member for 47 months, Philip Rosewood, a huge supporter of this channel. Thank you so much, Philip. It is. I can speak for the guys to my left and right too. It's just great to hear from you again.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we have no other donation super chats, right?
Nothing on my end.
Beautiful.
Nope.
Okay. Well, to everybody who's donated, super chatted, greatly appreciated. I think, boys and girls, it's time for the pulse of the community.
It's time for the pulse of the community. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. We have 5 comments. Comment number 1. Hopefully, now for those of you that don't know this segment, my friends here, Nick T and Calibro, are going to be reading comments that they have found in videos. We have, of course, blurred out names. There's not going to be any names or anything of the users that have written this. That's not really the point of it. Most of the comments are probably going to be negatively directed at me. Some might just be negatively directed at the whatchamacallit, the shows or whatever in general. It's a Segment that a lot of people love. It's a segment that I always dread. I'm kidding. I love it. All right. Cal, first comment. Did you start me off easy?
Yeah, very easy. You ready?
Yes, ready.
Okay, first comment. Oh my god, that mustache is terrible. Please don't.
You know, whether it's no, hold on. Whether it's a comment about the mustache, the forehead, the hairline, there's always some body comment that is in the pulse of the community. I'm starting to catch on to that. I think there's a conspiracy between the two of you, Dak, Dredge, and Pete, where you're going to always have some sort of physical appearance comment that's part of the pulse of the community. Is there any truth to that?
You say it like we're the ones leaving the comment.
Yeah, like...
Well, listen, the mustache is getting shaved. I did, I'll show the stream.
I like the mustache, personally.
Come on, man. The mustache looks great.
I did get the license with the mustache. I don't know how well that's going to render in. It is a really disturbing pic.
Oh, you already got your...
I've gotten my Delaware license, and
wait, that looks great, dude.
The scary thing about this, by the way, is it does not expire until 2033. So I'm stuck with that pic for a very long time. Yeah.
Oh my! You know what? I don't know. I don't know about that one, but
I can't wait for your future kids to see that one.
Nick T is like, Dylan, refer to the comment, please, dude. Come on.
No, I think the mustache is great, but that picture is scary.
I smiled and I like opened my eyes a little extra. Yeah, like what Cal's doing. That was kind of the look. So in case I have to show it, someone's like, wow, he really loves life. That's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, that isn't the vibe though.
I kind of like it. I think it's great.
All right. Okay. Nick T, your first comment here.
So the first comment on my end is, quote, the girl lead, unquote, say it like you're not a virgin. Which is crazy, by the way. I mean, this literally could apply to any of us who have spoken about this, but what the hell?
Hold on? How would they like me to refer to the main girl protagonist of each Yu-Gi-Oh show? If I say the girl protagonist, does that make me sound like less of a virgin? I mean, seriously, how am I supposed to refer? Like, what phrasing would this person like me to use? Is there a cooler phrasing? I mean, please, what a ridiculous comment.
You could have said that girl, you know?
And you know what's funny about this comment?
Yes.
There's something really funny about this comment to me, and that's I literally can't tell the tone of it. Is it just that we're referring to a character as the girl lead, or they don't like the idea of a girl lead? Like, is this like...
Oh,
you think misogynistic take?
Right,
or
you think it could be
like,
interesting. Like the manosphere, like that sort of take.
Exactly. Oh, here we go. The girl lead. You know, just say side character.
Just say damsel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't know.
Maybe that's
side character.
I literally cannot tell the tone, and I think that's what makes it funnier to me, is that I'm like, this could go anyway.
Yeah, it's a fun. Do you remember what video was that even on? Was it a video or a short?
Yeah, it was on the only Yu-Gi-Oh where pro tags didn't duel, the girl lead short. Yeah, it was a short.
So how would this profound user like me to write that title?
I don't know.
Didn't duel the woman?
Maybe you know what? Maybe they the woman. Maybe they don't even want to see the girl leads that character seen as a lead. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Wow, you guys have started off with some real bangers. Calibro, your next comment here on the pulse.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, is it a long one?
Yeah, it's a little longer.
Okay.
I will never understand Dylan saying Shun should not have smiled at the end of Arc 5. Like, that just sounds like someone who's super sadistic and irrational. You're telling me someone isn't allowed to move on from having their loved ones being gone and should just be depressed for the rest of their life? Oh my God. The whole point of Arc 5 is all about smiling even when things look rough, so that you can look at a bright future that awaits you. Would there be any closure to Shun's character if he just doesn't move on with his life and just constantly thinks about the people he's lost? Like imagine the final scene you see of Shun is him just depressed and crying. Would you have liked that, Dylan? Be honest.
Well, first of all, be honest. This guy think I'm like some sick guy. It's like, yeah, if you lose,
I mean, you are some sick guy.
If you lose a family member, you have to be in eternal turmoil and you can never get over it and move on. I mean, that is not at all the criticism of that scene. First of all, the whole concept of, oh yeah, smiling makes everything better, smile, moving on. Like, it's not terrible, but it was not properly executed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. And when it comes to Shun's character, it's not realistic. Like, in that, he is driven by saving his sister and helping his best friend Yuto, Ruri and Yuto, the entire show. And in that moment, we're not 100% sure what's happening, right? The worlds are merging. And for Shun to just kind of be sitting back and smiling without any explanation that his sister and his best friend have actually just died in that moment or are not going to be revived, it just doesn't fit the character that we got the entire way through. And that's why, you know, the whole writing into that scene, you did kind of pigeonhole yourself, because I get what this person's saying. It's like, yes, at some point, sure, Shun doesn't need to move on. But like, if my best friend and my brother like passed away and I learned that, hey, they were definitely gone, there was no hope of bringing them back, it would take me a very long time to emotionally move on from that scene. The problem is Shun does it in about 5 seconds. That's the issue. All these characters that were carded are able to come back to life. We don't know what extent is going to happen with the U-boys that are within Yuya or the bracelet girls that are within Reira. There might be a chance to revive them. We have no idea. And even in that moment, as Arc 5 comes to an end, we still don't know if maybe the other characters can get revived. And for Shun to just pack it in and smile and be okay with it, without asking further questions or trying to figure it out, when his whole character motivation was saving his sister and being there for his best friend, it just doesn't work for his character. It just doesn't cook. It just doesn't work. And it's not realistic. Nick T, your brother and your best friend pass away, and you learn in that moment there's no way of ever getting them back. 5 seconds after you learn that fact, are you going to be smiling?
Wait, so I just want to, just so I can get a complete understanding, now having not seen the show, that smile takes place minutes after he's found that out,
yes.
Information out?
Yes.
Yeah, I think no. I think what this person wants is me to, like, you know, you should have a segment of you like just reading really horrific news and then showing like a picture of a puppy and then be like, at least this exists, guys.
Right. That's
hey, children are getting bombed. Hey, but at least we got puppies.
Yeah, right. I mean that's the issue.
That's what it should be.
That's the problem. That's why
right?
Everybody clowns on it because it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. No, like, yeah, he should.
It's not a normal grieving process. Yeah, it's just not a normal grieving process. Yeah.
No, it's not. Exactly.
Yeah. Cal, were you gonna jump in?
No, you're good.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But no, at no point have I ever said, yeah, he should not. Well, that's the other thing, right? People will love to put words in your mouth. Telling me someone isn't allowed to move on from having their loved ones being gone. Yeah, never said that. But I have criticized the unrealistic speed at which the grieving process has taken place when the confirmation comes in that, hey, your best friend and your sister, yeah, they're really never coming back. It just, for him to just be goofily smiling just does not fit at all. It just doesn't work.
I don't know, Dill. I think you should be honest.
Would you have rather seen him depressed and crying? Him honestly maybe smiling while shedding some tears would have been much more realistic. It would have been much. And actually, for him being such a hardened character, him like tearing up in that final scene, even if he was smiling, that would have been that would have been miles better than just smiling with an empty gaze in his eyes. That would have been miles better. Fully agree. Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah, because that puts more of the smiling because it happened, but still crying because you're sad kind of vibe, rather than him being like, they're gone.
Yeah, smiling because, like, hey, like, you know, even you could even then chalk that up to shock, right? Like, hey, the shock is setting in. And sometimes when, like, that's why sometimes people, like, as a trauma response, they start laughing. You know, that's like something that happens when, like, something terrible happens. Like, they might start, like, laughing. And that's like a thing that some people do, not because they find a situation, like, humorous in any way, but it's like a trauma response. So, like, that would have been much more realistic. But him just blankly smiling, it was terrible.
Nick T?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a middle ground here, and there's a middle ground between not wanting the show to end on, oh yeah, he's crying and that's how we end the show, like, you're depressed, and this really unrealistic and very obscure depiction of like not grieving and just smiling. The middle ground is just not ending the show like that.
That's the other thing. The ending is that's right.
Should have followed that,
right?
And then we would have something like, oh well, this makes sense.
When the show got to that point, they had put themselves in a lot of corners, and that's really the issue, and that's just one little piece of it. But the ending of that show and the route that they went down is terrible. It's just terrible. And at that point, right, you're just in a lot of corners, and you want to give the happy ending. I get it, but like it just doesn't make sense for some characters and for a human grieving process. I mean, at the end of the day, but yes, according to this one, I'm super sadistic and irrational. I guess, when a loved one passes away, I'll try to smile 5 seconds later. That's more rational. Yeah.
That does bring to mind something probably horrible that I should not have said on stream to you regarding a debate about grieving.
Well, you said that, and then I threw it over to Calibro, and he was like, "No, I'm good. I don't have anything."
Yep. Yeah. So I'm all right.
But in reality, no, you are that. There is a
Jesus
spectrum
Christ,
of
dude. Oh my God. Yeah. No, it's crazy. All right. Nick T. Speaking of which, do you have another comment?
I do. Let me just pull it up. Here we go.
Geez,
it is
okay.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh good. I'm happy. We're yeah. Okay.
This one comes from the only rival whose last duel was a tag duel. Sure.
Okay.
And it's, bro, I know you're struggling to make content since the anime ended, but really this like, get creative, like TCG anime.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, those fun fact videos are supposed to be very random and obscure facts. So yeah, but you know what? At the same time, first of all, am I struggling to make content? Sure. I wouldn't even argue with that. You know what really angers me actually about this comment? The other Yugi YouTuber that he's referencing.
He's TGS.
TGS anime, who I have the utmost respect for. I will never say a bad word about him. I've actually said the opposite. I've praised him a lot. I think he is a very creative, a very, very good content creator. If you're going to use his channel to disparage and insult mine, I'm fine with that. You know what? It is what it is. In my heart of hearts, I do believe he is like the best anime Yugi tuber. I genuinely do believe that. So I have no issue. I have no insecurity about that if you want to use his channel to insult mine. But if you're going to do that, can you get the guy's name right? TGS Anime. This guy's got a lot more issues than critiquing Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime channels if he can't get a 3-letter YouTube channel name right. I mean, are we kidding? TGS Anime, not TCG Anime. That completely invalidates the comment. That is the most ridiculous thing that I have ever seen. I mean, the guy is not writing, Nosferatu. He's not spelling a crazy word like that. It's 3 letters and the word anime, and the guy gets the first letter right and then can't get the other 2 right. That's actually what annoys me more about this comment, that he's totally butchered one of the easiest YouTube names to remember.
You know what I love about that too?
What?
It reminds me of, like, this isn't the case here, but it reminds me of the classic thing where, like, if someone's losing an argument, but then somebody else spells a word wrong in, like, the text argument, that you're like, oh, learn how to spell, buddy, and then, like, completely invalidates everything that they say, no matter how accurate it is.
Dude, yeah.
The way you said that was, like, the perfect depiction in my head.
I think the craziest thing, but can I be honest with you as well? I think the craziest thing about this comment is the did you knows. I've done, I think, like 170 did you knows. The purpose of that is very obscure fun facts. So, like, asking, I don't even feel like that video is, like, a crazy stretch of a video for me to make.
No. Well, here's the thing. It comes from a very fundamental misunderstanding of the use of shorts as a YouTube creator.
Well, yes, 100%.
Like, the point of when you're a YouTube creator, long format YouTube creator, the point of shorts isn't to be like, here's a brand new thing that I'm not going to put in a long format video, or like, it's just like little bits, little fun things.
Little fun facts, which have been very good for the channel. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's not being like, oh, I have to do the most creative video I've ever done in a 1.5-minute video. Yeah, right. Like, no.
And the thing too, I mean, there is a major difference between me and TGS Anime. You know, we've covered the weekly Yu-Gi-Oh! TGS Anime hasn't since Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains ended, so that's a major difference. The other major difference in how we do content is I don't believe TGS Anime does, like, shorts. He might have a few shorts, but his main thing is once a week, big uploads, and they do really, really well for him, and he does really, really well. Whereas for me, I'm trying to do more of like a daily uploading thing. So the content is not going to be at the same quality. He's able to take 6 days to make this really, really good video. And that style has worked out tremendously for him. But like, you know, it can't just be like, oh, get creative like this guy. Well, his approach is totally different than mine, and his approach might be better than mine. I'm not arguing that my approach is better, but it's what my approach is, and it's gotten me this far, and I don't want to totally change the fundamentals of the channel. So that, at the end of the day, it's a comment from someone who, I mean, he gets the guy's name wrong. I mean, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I actually don't think we even need to address it.
Dude, it's 3 letters, and he got the name right. It's 3 letters. It's 3 letters.
Hey, I mean, G was in there.
And so was T, so he was close. The fact that he was close makes me more annoyed. I'd rather it be so far off where it's like, who the hell's he even talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Just crazy.
And Dak is convinced, I mean, obviously as a meme, that there are people on YouTube called TCG Anime, but it's definitely not who he's referring to here.
No, that is funny. And I mean, that makes sense because it is probably like a very common name, but now he's definitely referring to Sam, TGS Anime, because Sam is a very creative content creator. He's very creative with his videos, so it would make sense, but just absolutely ridiculous. All right, last one. Calibro, what do you got here?
Oh yeah, give me a minute. This is a long one.
Oh no. Oh jeez, dude.
Honestly, I lost interest after Vrains. It was the only series that I ever hate watched, never making that mistake again.
Can I interject?
Just kind of hoping.
And I'm sorry, and I don't mean to interject. Hate watching will always, to me, be the stupidest thing that someone can do. My apologies for interjecting. You can continue.
It was the only series that I ever hate watched, never making that mistake again. Just kind of hoping it'd get better at some point. And nothing after that even seemed interesting enough to look at. But if Vrains, Sevens, and Rush were the last things the anime got with Kazuki Takahashi, I'm not sure that his loss is what caused the anime to become as lost as it is. No hate on Kazuki Takahashi. I just don't think the blame here should be put on him. He was the origin and beating heart of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Had to have been dying slowly if Vrains came out in the state that it did. It was objectively bad. Its story tried to have all the stakes and none at all because it was a digital world with digital cards. Why do I care? The vast majority of its characters, including its protagonist, were some of the most boring or trash the series had ever seen. And the few that weren't either died before the show was over or changed for the worse. Vrains existed solely to sell new cards, just like the Master Rule 4 existed to force players to buy the new convoluted link monsters if they wanted to play the cards they already owned. And what did they do after Vrains? Just dump the game and try to start over and sell a new version of it to kids that didn't even buy it. So yeah, I'm gonna blame Konami for this one. Their efforts to force links out ended up damaging the anime so bad that it never went back to the actual card game. And we know full well it was a mistake because Master Rule 5 pretty much existed to roll back some of the damage caused by the Vrains era.
I mean,
where do you even start with this?
I know, dude. I'm actually annoyed at you for picking this one. I mean, it does kind of fit the opening monologue very slight. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit. Yeah, just the fact that, like, hey, he did mention some points that the studio was in trouble, but I mean, like, there's some points he makes that I do, I guess, kind of agree with. Like, yeah, the forcing people to buy Ling's Master Rule 4, you know, was maybe not the best, and Master Rule 5 to roll that back, like, sure, but, and then, sure, I would always blame Konami over Takahashi, but, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, that's the part I wanted to address first, because when did you or any of us ever actually, Cal, could you, what video is this one from?
This video is the one that is from the real reason why we don't have an anime right now.
Okay, so even if that, right, I think in that video you imply that Takahashi's loss did put like a stopgap, right, maybe? But does that ever, quote, blame him for the anime to become as lost as it is? When did you ever blame him?
I know that's someone who I don't think actually watched the video that he commented on and only read the title, that like Takahashi's passing is why right now they don't have. Yeah, but that's what I did in the video. I know this guy thinks that I blamed him passing away as like I was angry at him for passing away. I mean,
it's his fault.
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. And anybody who watched this podcast, you know, 2 weeks ago knows that that's obviously not what I said in any capacity. I would never say something as heinous as that. But yeah, I mean, also this guy contradicts him. There's so much. This guy contradicts himself the first two sentences. Honestly, I lost interest after Vrains. It was the only series that I hate watched. Okay, that means you weren't interested in Vrains. That means you lost interest after Arc 5. You know what I mean? Because you weren't interested in Vrains if you hate watched it. So I
question if you even watched it, because he's saying that there's no stakes and it doesn't matter because everything takes place in a digital world. But if you die in that digital world, you die. So the stakes are there.
Right. And then the few that weren't trash either died before the show was over. Who died before the show was over besides reference? Like Lightning? No, but Spectre was around
at the end. He was there till the end.
But he did die off screen in the beginning of the season, or the beginning of like the last.
Yeah, but that was like 10 episodes before the end.
I mean, the Ignis outside of I are the only characters that I can think of there.
Earth got dissected.
Yeah, he's talking about Earth actually.
But there's no way this guy liked. I mean, liking Lightning, fine, because Lightning was great. There's no way this guy liked like Bowman and Haru and is upset they got killed off.
No, honestly,
I mean, justice for Haru, but
my vibe from him is that he liked Go and Earth, and Go changed, Earth died, and Go was like this, you know, he became almost like a robot, remember? From like what he was to becoming really, really thin, and like his whole personality changed.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, if reference to somebody dying early and somebody changing for the worse.
Yeah,
like that would be the
this
best
guy.
I'd
love to bring this guy on and talk to him. I mean, but Yu-Gi-Oh had to have been slowly dying. Yeah, no, I would never. But Yu-Gi-Oh had to have been dying slowly if Vrains came out in the state that it did. Again, the state of the studio, which was Studio Gallop, has nothing to do with how well the game was performing. Those are two totally different. There's no correlation between the Yu-Gi-Oh card game not selling well and the studio doing terribly behind the scenes. So that's another like kind of misinformed read here. I don't know.
I feel like that it sounds backwards, because you would think the show would be attempting to perform better so that the game could perform better. Not, oh, well, the game's not doing so good, so the show's going to be crap. You know, like that doesn't make sense.
I know, but that sentence, no hate on Kazuki Takahashi, I just don't think the blame here should be put on him.
You blamed him.
I guess
I
blamed
his name,
him.
I think, in that video. Yeah.
I blamed him. I mean, that line is the line that's just insane to me.
And the show is objectively bad. Like it's a fact, you know. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say Arc 5 is objectively bad. I mean, I don't think Arc 5 overall is bad. I think it's like okay.
There's nothing objective about it.
But it's not objective. Either way, it's not objective. And like anybody to say for any of the Yu-Gi-Oh shows, Yu-Gi-Oh X, Y, or Z is objectively great or objectively bad, I'm not even going to have a conversation, because that's like that sentence doesn't make sense.
the fact that there are people that are like almost violently defensive of like Arc 5 shows that like there is no objectivity here. It's all your taste is subjective.
All subjective.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. And so that's why whenever anybody says anything about a show being objectively bad or objectively good, it makes me kind of just disinterested in the rest of the comment from that person because, well, you don't fully grasp. I don't fully grasp the language, but I know what objectively means.
This almost like felt like a filibuster. Like I felt like he just kept going. You know what I mean? Like it just was like there was a point, but he wasn't getting there. It just kept going and going and going.
He had a lot of grievances.
He left this comment simply with the goal of filibustering this very podcast so that we'd have to read it for like extended amount of time.
Well, I'll tell you, very soon I will be uploading like my top 100 strongest duelists, and the comments on that video we will be picking from that. And when I do my like ranking every show, you guys will be picking from that video for the next 8 months. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, I can't.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah. All right.
Hey, I just have one question. Is you gonna be on that top 100?
Yuga will be on the top 100. I don't know if he's in the top 20. If I'm being honest with you.
Oh, that's fine.
It may not be in the top 40 either.
Well, come on.
He'll be in the top 100. I mean, he's not a good duelist for a protagonist, but he's a good duelist overall.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else to say about this comment?
No, I think we've said it all.
I think we hit all the major points. We might have missed a few. There were a lot. But you know, I don't tend to agree with most of his points.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Or any of them.
Or any of them. Yeah, that was Pulse of the Community, ladies and gentlemen. We got a couple of more donations.
Points.
Future YCS champ. We're rooting for you. I hope. Please, come on, make us proud. Cal, you want to read that?
Future YCS champ, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey guys, I just wanted to say that we appreciate all that you guys do for the community, making us all laugh through the Yu-Gi-Oh anime dark ages with a smiley face.
I love that.
That's such a kind comment. Thank you so much. No, it means a lot. I mean, listen, I know like, you know, we have like 60, 70 people that tune into this show, and you know, it's amazing because it's really just us talking about different topics in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, and the fact that there's so many people that are interested in that despite there not being a show right now is amazing. And hopefully that is a what did you call it, Future YCS champ? The Yu-Gi-Oh anime dark ages. I love that.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Yu-Gi-Oh anime dark ages will have a little bit of light, like a lighter July 13th Jump Victory Carnival. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. And then, of course, we have Jump Festa later this year. But hopefully we're not going to be in the dark ages for too much longer. But, you know, knock on wood. Who the hell knows, honestly.
Can I just say...
But that's such a kind comment.
Yeah, very kind comment. Historically, what followed the dark ages was the Renaissance.
And the Renaissance, man, you had people no shirt on singing in the streets, you know, just
Maestro taking charge.
Yeah, the Maestro taking charge. They did that thing with the powdered donuts, right, and licking it off of, like, you know, it's an amazing thing. So
Wait.
I hope we get to live in a world like that for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime.
What are we talking about?
The Renaissance. It wasn't just like painting and like singing. It was people dancing with no shirts on.
Yeah, just the donuts.
That was like a big thing. The powdered donuts, licking the powder off of like chests. Beignets, I think.
Somebody in chat back me up here.
Beignets.
Beignets are like a dessert. I just don't.
I think that was a very.
It's Pete in chat.
I think that was a very common thing in the Renaissance. He's a historian. You can ask him.
Yeah, I
will ask Pete, but I think that was a very common thing. But no, hopefully, yes, dictate.
That aside, yes, the Renaissance followed the Dark Ages, so I think we are due for a Yu-Gi-Oh Renaissance. Hopefully, shortly after this Dark Ages.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Renaissance, Duel Links. Do we get a Duel Links anime, man? I'm going full back in my chair, dude. I'd lose my mind. But
Let's hope for the best, man. Do you think that person that hate watched Vrains and has not been interested in Yu-Gi-Oh since 2016 will be watching Yu-Gi-Oh 9, Nick T?
He could be hate watching it.
I do.
Well, he did say he would never hate watch again. If he learned any lesson, hopefully it's that he will not hate watch the show again. And I do apologize for interjecting you in that comment, Cal. I just had to say it because I think hate watching is really one of the dumber things you can do. If you don't like a show or a movie, you're going to watch 120 episodes of an anime that you hate. 120 episodes. What? That's crazy.
That just that to me is like, let me go back and watch all of the Philadelphia Eagles wins from last year.
We wouldn't wish that on anyone.
And there's a lot of them.
And just hate, and there are. No, you're right. They won it all. But let me go back as someone who very much hates them and watch as our ex-running back ran for 2,000 yards and goes and just has like the best season ever. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I would love to hate watch other things that other people like.
It would be like, if you go back and watch like the final season of Game of Thrones. Like, why?
Shut up.
I swear to God, dude. I swear
I'm going to drive down to Del. Actually, no. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Yep.
But no, Future YZS champ, seriously, thank you so much for the super chat. We greatly appreciate it. And make us proud with that username. We believe in you.
I got one more over here.
You got it, Cal.
Still. And then I'll let you go.
Yeah, you got it.
Pick Rick has been a member at Slifer Red for 38 months.
Pick Rick. Thank you, Pick.
Pick of the Rick.
Pick the Rick.
And Rick said, 1 more month till the Utopia milestone. Right on time.
What?
1 more month till Utopia milestone, right on time. Number 39 is the number for Utopia. Pick Rick just became a 38-month channel member. And it is right on time because releasing in 1 week or a week and a half is Gohai Yuka, the Utopia girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's. Kind of a shock character release there in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's world, but I'm very, very excited to get her deck and to unlock her. That's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited for Gohai Yuka. Pick Rick, thank you so much. Angry Redditor has donated twice, two $2 donations. Okay, so recently I started watching Vrains, and this is not my Yu-Gi-Oh! It's gotten woke. We have blue-haired characters and a protag with pink hair, and it has coexistence. Not my Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, a meme there. And then also forcing links. What kind of subliminal message are they trying to force on us? Nick T, what could they be forcing on us with links? What do you think?
With links, like subliminal.
I'm kidding. I don't. Someone just being a Redditor meme, which is always appreciate it. Angry Redditor. I actually have no idea who that is, but thank you very much for the $2 donation. I mean, listen, there are people that are like that, and you know, it is what it is.
That's how it goes. There will always be people like that.
Yeah, and by the way, if you want to find anyone complaining or hating, Reddit is the place to go. I mean, actually, really, any social media site at this point is the place to go.
Yeah, go on X.
Go on X. I don't even call it X. I still call it Twitter. But yeah, when I first started doing this, I would always say, you know what, if you want to like be negative and read bad comments, go to 4chan. But now, like, everything's become 4chan. I feel like online, like it's crazy. Like every online place, whether it's Tumblr or Twitter or Reddit, it's all, if you look for it, man, it will not take long before you find it. It's just the internet in general now is so hate-filled because that's what gets replies and clicks, and it's so toxic, man. It's very frustrating.
It's the rage bait culture.
It is the rage bait culture. It's terrible. Natalie, thank you for the $2 donation. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has entered a dark age, but hopefully it will rise again, and hopefully with a new message and new material. That would be cool. Absolutely, Natalie. I mean, at the core, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh's always been about friendship and bonds and hope, and I don't mind if it remains about that, but like, there's always some sub-messaging, right? Judai, it's about kind of growing up, getting through those tough teen years. 5Ds did a great take on like classism. Like, I would love for the message. But you know what? Before we even debate messages, Natalie, can I be honest with you before we start getting into like the hypotheticals? Let's just get a freaking announcement, girl. Let's get a freaking announcement. Come on. Come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
We are a few weeks away. Let me do the countdown. How many days are we? I'm getting pumped, dude. I think something crazy might happen at this event.
What day is it?
It is July 12th and July 13th.
Okay.
We're 2 weekends away, right?
July 13th is my mom's birthday.
Okay, so something big might happen on your mother's birthday.
I hope
So 24 and 25 days, roughly.
Yeah. So let's go. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm seeing if they live stream it, I would love for you boys to come that weekend and do the stream with me if you're available and if it's live streamed. So if you can't, it's no big deal.
I already know I can't. So.
Okay.
The only reason I say I probably can't is because it's my mom's birthday.
Oh yeah, you just said that.
Yeah,
dad. I don't know. Well, is it at night? When is it?
It would be like Jump Fest. It would be overnight. Yeah.
Oh, then I could probably, have some birthday festivities and potentially drive down. Well,
okay.
I'll let you know.
Let me know, but again, it all also depends on whether they're going to actually live stream it or not. Like, we know the Jump Fest panels are streamed. If they're not live streaming it, I'm not even going to have anything for it. So I will let all of you guys know as it gets closer for sure. We have one more, but again, that's something for you guys in chat to keep an eye on as well. We could be live for Jump Victory Carnival. That is mid-July. Axel Hero, thank you so much from The Hero. Appreciate you, man.
Axel Hero, thank you for the $7 Canadian donation.
Thank you, Axel Hero. And before you read the message, Axel Hero really joined the community, I believe, Jump Festa. So,
wow.
I know.
Interesting time to start.
Interesting time to start, but a great time to start. We appreciate having you here. You've been so generous. Yes. Listen, the best is yet to come. It can't get worse than what happened at last year's Jump Festa. Even if we get nothing, it's like, man, that sucks. But, it's not worse than the potential confirmation of, yeah, you get nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Axel.
And they said, always fun to watch you guys. Question of the day. Who would win a tag duel of Kaiba and Yusei versus Yami and Jack? My take is Kaiba and Yusei.
Ooh, so two undefeatable characters, and then and the opposite rivals.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, I don't. That's like what's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object? What happens there?
I think I'm gonna pick Yami and Jack. I don't trust Kaiba in high profile duels. I just don't. I think I genuinely think he's a choke artist. I've said this many times. I think he cracks under the pressure. I can't name one high profile duel win that he's gotten in Duel Monsters. The biggest is maybe against Siegfried, but I'm gonna pick I'm going with Yami and Jack. I trust Jack over Kaiba, and I think Yami is kind of even with Yusei. But yeah, it's a good one, man. And Kaiba can't beat Yami, even if it's a 2-on-2. Let's be real. That's my pick there. Great pick, though. Great pick. Great question, really. Axel Hero, you joined my community at a rough time, but listen, I'm happy that you're enjoying the content. That's all that matters. And things will get better. Jump Victory Carnival. I'm pumped. Are you guys pumped for Jump Victory Carnival?
Oh, I'm pumped. I have a good feeling about it, to be honest.
I have a really good feeling.
I think we're going to be surprised by how great it is.
And you know what? If not that, you know what I have a really good feeling about?
Jump Festa?
Before that.
The New York City
anime. Yeah.
Really?
Anime New York City.
Really? See,
dude,
I don't.
That conversation about the Kaiba voice actor and
there's something
producer.
Juicy in there, man. There really is.
I mean, they're being introduced as YuGiOh figures.
The fact that producers there is what's interesting.
Well, it's them. They said Yu-Gi-Oh's.
Yep.
This and that, not like this guy who worked on Yu-Gi-Oh and this. It was introduced as Yu-Gi-Oh people, which I think is the most important.
Well, Kaiba's voice actor certainly. I don't think. I mean, maybe Kaiba's his most popular role, but he's been in so much stuff. I'm sure there's been Yeah, and
they could have introduced him as anybody.
Yeah.
And having that paired with a producer. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't freaking wait. It's going to be fun.
I feel it in my bones.
And you know what? The best thing is if we get nothing at both of these events, we still have Jump Festa, right? And that was in our mind, that was most likely anyway. So power of positivity. It's important.
Yep.
Pushing
P, right? That's what that means.
Pushing P? No.
Pushing positivity. Isn't that what it stands for?
Yes. Pushing.
Let me see you push a T.
Angry Redditor, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and Go Rush are even worse with the agenda like it's not supposed to be political. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, there are obviously I have to imagine this person is doing it facetiously here, but there are people.
This is 100%, yeah,
facetious. But there are people that are like that, which is wild.
Yeah.
Nicholas Horton.
It does blur the line a little bit.
It does. At Justice for Rebecca Edge Runners, I don't have my Rebecca. I'm sorry, Nick T. I don't have my Rebecca Edge Runners U2s because I always put that on the table whenever Nicholas Horton re-ups his membership. Thank you for being a member for 57 months, my friend. Hi guys, hope you have been safe and well. We have been. I've moved to a new place. I am now in the swamps of Delaware, but life's been great, man. Can't complain. And I'm surrounded by two great dudes here. So appreciate you, Nicholas.
You're in New Jersey's basement, bro.
What?
You're in New Jersey's basement.
I'm in New Jersey, sure, even though I'm actually more north than certain parts of New Jersey, but that's fine.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
It's beautiful out here, man. I really do. You walk outside, you take a big sniff, and man, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, you smell the murder of Wilmington.
Murder City, USA.
It's not even close either, which is the funny thing.
I think it's gotten better, and I think Memphis now is actually worse, but
that probably is.
You have to fact check that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not even near.
You're not
Wilmington.
even geographically close to Wilmington. Yeah.
No. You are, I think, closer to Calibro than I am to Wilmington, and you're not necessarily close to Calibro.
He's definitely closer to me than you are.
Oh yeah, that's not even a question, dude. You're like an hour away, aren't you?
No, to Wilmington.
No, I know. I'm saying you're like an hour from Wilmington.
No, I'm like 30 minutes. I'm like 30 from Wilmington. I'm 30 minutes from Jersey.
Oh really?
Yeah. Delaware's not big, man. It's a small state.
No, I know, but I think you're like still like 40 minutes from like Dover.
No, I'm like 30 minutes from Dover.
Oh,
everything's just 30 minutes away, dude.
Do you want me to tell you like what I'm 30 minutes?
I think he's 30 minutes from Philly too.
Do you want me to tell you what I'm 30? Nah, Philly's like 35. Do you want me to tell you what I'm? All right. We have a couple more donations.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We got $10 Australian from Electric Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
And Dill, I'm gonna hand this one over to you.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah. I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Okay. Let me pull it up. Kevin, thank you so much for the 10. Dylan, last week you tried arguing the Yu-Gi-Oh anime is better than Pokemon. Think most people that have watched both would agree that, especially for the past decade now, Pokemon has been superior. You could be right. When that was brought up last week, I had to comedically go, whoa, because I am Yu-Gi-Oh everything, and I will always defend the Yu-Gi-Oh anime in any sort of debate when it comes to pitting it against other franchises. That said, I literally can't actually form an opinion on this debate. I have not watched Pokemon since the 2010s. So I literally don't have an opinion. It very well could be the case that Pokemon is better. Could be that if I watch Pokemon, I would think that over the last 10 years, Pokemon is better. But unless I've watched both properties, I just can't form an opinion. So I can't actually say one way or another. But I was defending the Yu-Gi-Oh anime because I'm Yu-Gi-Oh everything, man. I've gotta defend the Yu-Gi-Oh anime when I can. But yeah, that was kind of a meme. Kevin, thank you so much for the donation. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. We got $2 from Space Cowgirl.
Space Cowgirl. Thank you, Space Cowgirl.
Space Cowgirl said, anyone in Delaware recognize you yet?
No, I've been recognized only like 7 times. No. I don't
in this week.
Universal was the best recognition.
Universal, somebody did recognize me outside of the bathroom right by the Mummy, in Florida. For those of you that know that location, I was recognized there, which was very, very nice. Very nice guy. Was also recognized at the mall a couple of times. Recognized in New York City. Yeah, but not Delaware. People don't live in Delaware. It's very empty. So No, really, and it's not a bad thing, but I would stream, and every now and then I would be like, hey, does anybody here live in Delaware? People are like, no, I'm in Michigan, I'm in Oklahoma, I'm in Oregon, which I knew they were lying because that's not a real state. Washington, California, Texas, Florida, but nobody, I don't know a single soul that lives in Delaware. So, there's just less people that are out here. Not a bad thing, but in terms of getting recognized, it's a low percentage for sure.
My cousins live in Delaware.
Oh, I live right next to your cousins.
Yes, you do. You're like 5 minutes away from them.
Yeah, they live in the same town.
Yeah.
My Nick's, like, one of her best friends is moving Delaware today to a town that's about 15 minutes from you.
North or south?
South of you.
Delaware's on the up, man.
What?
Smyrna?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, I know the answer. I know the answer because I know that there's only a few towns. There's like 10 towns in the entire state. It's not like New Jersey where it's like, oh, well, are you in Belford? Are you in Lincroft? Are you in Middletown? There's only like a certain amount of towns. It's a beautiful thing, but that's a beautiful area. Well, I'm happy for them.
Dude, we're going to be able to geolocate exactly where you are soon with all these different times and different towns that you're living in. It's going to be great. I don't even need to use my GPS to find your house.
Geolocate, yeah. No, I like it. It's nice, honestly. You hit the roads and there's like there's not many cars. There's still cars. It's not like desolate, but like, yeah, it's nice. It's a different lifestyle.
There's traffic at any time of day, whenever.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle, but it's nice, and obviously the affordability. I mean, the affordability is the main reason, but it's good. It's good. Yeah. Beautiful town, Nick T. Beautiful town.
Yeah, I bet.
All right. Space Cowgirl, thank you so much. Yu-Gi-Oh! Renaissance Man, thank you so much for the $2 donation. If Dylan dances shirtless, we would all happily lick powdered donuts off of his mustache to get Yu-Gi-Oh! 9. That would turn him into Dylan Da Vinci. Wow. That's beautiful.
Wow,
well, that is what they did in the Renaissance. They would put powdered sugar on like stuff and lick it up. And let me say this.
The Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci Code.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Renaissance Man, thank you so much for the donation. I'll be honest, I would take the sacrifice. If it meant like, hey, there's 5 strangers that are gonna lick powdered sugar off your mustache, I would be okay with that if it meant Yu-Gi-Oh! 9. People ask what you would do for Yu-Gi-Oh! 9. I'd do that for Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, of course. For the beautiful people watching in chat, for the thousands at home, I would do it. I'd take that.
For the millions.
Millions. Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah. Great message, though, Yu-Gi-Oh! Renaissance Man. So hopefully that happens at Jump Festa, right? Who knows? You never know what's going to happen at Jump Festa. Cal, do we have any more?
Yes, we got $10.01 Canadian from Pick Rick.
Pick the Rick. Thank you, Pick Rick.
Pick Rick said, if that room Dill is in will be the spot for Jump Festa, it will be nice that we can see more of the room. We'll really feel the party. Also, see Dill get his dance on when Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 gets announced.
Well, it will be the room. This is going to be the room that Jump Festa will take place in. I don't know if I can switch scenes real quick. Yeah, you guys can kind of see it. That's the front door. Garage is right there. But we're going to have the table, the white table right there. And then, people will be behind the table. And you'll see people probably come up and down the stairs. I don't really know how many people we can actually have here. It might not be that big of a group because of the whole shared wall situation. But yeah, we're very, very excited for it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And basically anybody that's in the room is going to be on camera. It's not like people can be off camera and in the room. But yeah, I mean, listen, if we're dancing, I'll give a little bit of a sneak peek of what you might see December 20th.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah. I can't wait.
Hit the grid. Yeah. Look at that. Oh
no.
Oh gosh.
Come on.
Oh no. Act like you did great.
I've been working on the gritty. How did it look?
Nice, Dill.
Thank you.
Really good. Really good.
This is you know what? And this is what's going to happen if nothing gets announced. If the panel goes and it doesn't get announced, this is what I'm doing.
Wait. Oh, he's walked. Your front door is right there.
Oh, I hope he didn't lock him. I hope he locked himself out.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm leaving, and I'm gonna walk, and walk until I can't walk anymore. It's going to be like a Forrest Gump moment for me. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Well, Forrest Gump ran,
Wait,
so you should probably
I was going to say, Forrest Gump in what way?
Oh, did he run?
He ran, he played ping pong. He, what was he, like Dr. Pepper?
It's like Jenny.
He likes Jenny.
Let's hope we don't leave. But
I'll be honest with you, I've never seen that movie start to finish. So
what?
It's one of those like, how have you not seen that movie? So that's on my list.
Pick Rick, we're very, very, very hopefully we do Jump Victory Carnival in July. If it's getting streamed and Konami has a panel, we will absolutely be watching it. I think the night before is Duelist Kingdom Live, which is the concert. I will definitely be streaming that probably here on YouTube. And yeah, let's go, baby. So Pick Rick, thank you so much for the very, very kind donation. Thank you, Pick.
Thank you, Pick. We got $2 super chat from Legendary Duels.
JC.
And JC said, schedule me in for a talking Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm ready.
Legendary
Let's
Duels, thank you
go.
for the $2 super chat. Obviously, this is our 4th episode. We've done kind of the same format where we do the top 5 and then the pulse of the community. Want to switch out that top 5 for maybe a call-in segment. So maybe we'll do that in the next episode. Got to figure out the logistics of calling in. I'm going to talk to Dak about it, and I'll keep you updated. So maybe that first week of July. But the first guest is going to be you. Whenever we have it, I can guarantee you first guest has to be the first guest I ever had on the channel in general back at 10 years ago, Legendary Duels.
Wow.
Yeah, it has to be. JC's a great guy. Thank you so much, JC. We're going to try to schedule you in very, very soon. Thank you, my friend.
That's when he was really into designing the mats, right?
Yeah, he made some amazing. He made
that?
me an amazing mat that I have somewhere. Amazing. Thank you, JC. And
I remember that.
Natalie donated $2. Thank you so much, Natalie. Angry Redditor needs to chill out and find a J-O-B. Dude is acting sus. Sir, this is a Wendy's. I actually don't know what does that word even mean, Nick T?
You would know.
J-O-B? What is that?
It means, Dylan.
Oh man, I don't even have any.
Oh my god, Ivrea scared me half to death today though. Like I woke up at 11:30 and she walked into the room and handed me a piece of paper and it was a job application. I jumped out of bed and
I love like the meme where it's like, "Boo, I'm a job application," and it's someone wearing one as a mask.
Oh, she got me good this morning. Scared me half to death, man. I bolted out of that room.
Oh my god.
She couldn't be serious.
Well, I don't know. I haven't talked to her since. Natalie,
Oh my god.
thank you for the donation, Natalie. Really appreciate it.
Dill, Pete said in chat that our second guest is going to be President Obama.
Can't confirm or deny. Can't confirm or deny.
And I do want to say that President Obama spoke at my company today.
Really?
Actually?
Yeah, he was in Newark today.
And Nick,
No, wait, like.
No, I'm not kidding. No,
got to
I
see
didn't.
him?
I didn't get selected to go to the meeting, unfortunately.
I really liked Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush.
That's pretty good. That's good.
oh, can you
Yeah.
imagine how insane would that be, dude? Jesus Christ.
that
It's a
was
good
good.
impression. It was a good impression.
I try. I'm brushing up a little bit, you know.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Okay, thank you. Was that Natalie?
Natalie,
was the one
thank
you
you.
just
Natalie.
read?
Yep.
Okay. We got $5 Australian from Electric Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin said, "You know what? F it. Another food question.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
What's a food you like, but find to be extremely overrated? Some that come to mind for me are avocado and bacon."
Bacon actually does kind of take the answer I was going to go
Bacon's
with.
a big one.
Yeah, bacon I don't like. I do like it, but like I don't like love it. And I know people go crazy for it. I'm going to try to think of another one as well.
Bacon is a really good one in the sense that like I really do like it, but it's become so like culturally like dominant where everyone's like bacon. Like I remember there was a
Bacon's a side also.
Yeah, it is. But I remember there was a Epic Mealtime shirt that was just like bacon and bacon and it's like, all right, like enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, it's good.
I actually fully agree with avocado.
I love avocado.
Like, I think avocado and guacamole, people are like, this is the best thing ever, and I think it's all right. Like, I like it, but it's not phenomenal. And sushi, I like it, but it's not phenomenal.
Nah, I love sushi.
No, that's false. Yeah,
but I think my issue with no, but like, hold on, let me push this point across, and then I think you'll agree with me.
Okay.
I think I find it overrated, one, because it's never going to compare to what I had in Japan, which is an unfair comparison as it is, but it is what it is. And also, it's so expensive and it doesn't fill you up.
And that pretentious.
To me... You pretentious dude.
Yeah. No, but like, I feel like you go and I'm like, all right, I'll get a sushi roll and it's expensive, and then you're done and you're like, in 15 minutes, you're hungry.
Well, you're not getting the right sushi roll.
I kind of get what he's saying. But that's because I order like $25, $30 of sushi.
No, but Nick T, I agree. You have to order a certain amount so that you fill up, and it costs a crap ton of money to do it.
Yeah, I get that. I do.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm coming around to it more though. I've had some raw fish lately. It was pretty good.
Yeah, you got a stream in the backyard. Nick T, what about you?
That's tough. I mean, other than the bacon one, which I actually completely agree. I don't know. I like most foods. Like pizza is something that will never be overrated.
No.
That is the perfectly rated food.
Even bad pizza is still pizza, and pizza is great.
So we had Delaware pizza on Saturday with everyone, with all the guys, and it was like, it wasn't good, but it wasn't like terrible. It was I gave it like a 6 out of 10, but I still enjoyed it. Like I had the leftovers the next day for dinner. That's the thing with me. Pizza, I'm really not snobby on it all. Like I can tell the difference between a really good pie and like an average pie, but pizza to me is still just so good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
Here's
how
the
I
thing.
feel.
I have a pretty stringent like scale for pizza, and like I know what I like, I know what I think is good and what I think is not good. But I could eat Chuck E. Cheese pizza and be like, hell yeah, dude.
Agreed.
Like,
yeah. There was a place up in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, that we'd get pizza from that was rated terribly, and it wasn't good, but like I always had it and never like complained. You know, that's just the type of food that I have no issue getting. I just had one on the top of my tongue. I can't think of it. That I think is like overrated. I just lost it.
Chicken parm.
No, chicken parm. I love.
Chicken parm.
Okay, good. I love it. So like, I was hoping that you wouldn't actually feel that way.
You got me worried for a second.
I go to restaurants, and if I've never been there before and they have a chicken parm, like 8 out of 10 times I'm getting the chicken parm.
You know what?
Just to try it and compare it to other chicken parm.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got one.
What?
I've got one, and this might be controversial. Steak, and let me tell you why. Not because I think it's by any means bad. I enjoy a good steak, but there are people that are like way too into steak.
I agree with you.
You know,
that's a good one. I fully agree with you.
I actually agree with you as well.
Yeah.
I think that there are you can have steak in a lot of different ways, which is I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just like you're cooking a steak one way, that's how you eat it. There's no way to make it better. I think it's great, but I do think that people act like it is literally like God's gift to earth, the best thing ever. And there's a lot of people that are like that are like just big steak heads, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like, here's the thing. I could spend a pretty like decent amount of money and get a really good cut of steak, like a really good one. And let's say in this hypothetical, I'm a great chef and I can cook it to perfection. I love it. This is an awesome steak. Great. But then there's a steakhouse not far from here called, Butcher's Block, where I'm paying stupid money on a steak. And you're telling me that's worth it?
Your firstborn child.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Weird is not. Weird said you guys have not had
Come
good
on,
steak.
bro. You don't think there's a threshold of where, like, all right, come on, the steak love has gone too far where you're sacrificing a child to have it.
Well, I think steak is really, really good. I just think that it's overhyped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
He doesn't agree. Oh, okay.
I don't disagree.
If you're talking strictly Wagyu beef weird, then I agree with you. It is the real deal.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah. Well, listen. Good food talk. This has been an amazing time. The Talking Yu-Gi-Oh show, episode 4. If you missed the opening monologue, it'll be in a video format tomorrow. Nick T, Calibro, really, really appreciate you guys as always. Nick T, we'll start with you. Please promote anything you want to promote, and I really appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much.
Yes. So I don't have any news as of now, but I have been inspired and writing again and wanting to get Nameling back off the ground. So please keep your eyes and ears peeled for more Nameling stuff. And in the meantime, go stream Nameling, Fragile Homes, and Mom Fight on all music streaming platforms. If you feel so inclined to purchase music, all those artists should be on Bandcamp or iTunes or Amazon or wherever you purchase music. But not that it's ever required, because you can stream us anywhere: YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, you name it. So any kind of support in any regard would be appreciated. So Nameling, Fragile Homes, Mom Fight, forever.
Oh yeah,
love it.
Stream that music.
Yeah, please. Cal, anything going on?
So I don't have anything to promote here, but I do just want to say this is officially the last stream that will involve our old house.
Oh wow!
Rest in peace,
I move
man.
out tomorrow. This is the last one. The last one
out. Moving out.
Moving out tomorrow is officially ends the Homedale legacy.
It was great having you as a roommate. You were a great roommate, man.
Yeah, honestly, ditto. Right back to you and Vree. We worked very well together as roommates, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good 3 years, but I think we're both on to bigger, better, and that's what it's all about, man.
Was it 3?
It was like 2 years and 9 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
You are, Cal.
Second one they just extended instead of.
Cal, I could see the hesitation. I'm 100% sure you are, even if you don't see it. You're on to bigger, better. I'm positive.
I believe that.
Eventually.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know the old saying,
but sometimes you have
step
to
back,
yes,
2 steps forward.
But sometimes that step back is needed. So nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, when you get ready to run, you take a step back before you go. So
yeah. Wow.
There's always the basement if you want to crash in there, Cal.
You don't have a basement.
Next year.
Oh, next year.
I'm projecting.
Are you trying to get me to move to Delaware?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't.
No, when he's saying when they look for a house, yeah.
I wouldn't charge a lot for
trying
rent.
to get me to move in,
like $3,000 a month or something like that.
Yeah, at least to
cover. Just charge me the mortgage, yeah.
Yeah, well, at least to cover the mortgage and then some.
And the utilities.
Yeah. Nah, it's great, man. It's great. All right. Well, listen, this has been the Talkin' Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, episode 4. Huge thank you to Cal, Nick T. Huge thank you to the mods. Thank you to everybody who donated, super chatted. Cannot overstate how much it helps me out, how much I appreciate it. There's no streams for me tomorrow. We will be live again on Friday with Master Duel. I'm very much looking forward to that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys. Have a great night.
Woo!